Game day's here, I can hear the crowd. Turn on the lights, fans are cranked up and loud. Red or blue, we wear it proud. Yeah, we love our teams in this border town. Chiefs and Royals, Boo Mizzou, Rock Chalk, Jayhawk, KU. Hear that drum pounding in your feet. Yeah, you're marching to the beat of KC.
What is going on, YouTube? What is going on, Kansas City? And what is going on, everybody? And welcome to the beat of KC. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Lucas Murphy. And holy smokes, ladies and gentlemen, Kansas City Chiefs are going to be quickly playing in another game as they head to Dallas to face the Cowboys on Thanksgiving. I mean, this is a huge turnaround after going to overtime against the Indianapolis Colts, winning 23-20. They put it all on the line, ladies and gentlemen, and it is a quick turnaround, which we'll talk about. But the same can be said for the Dallas Cowboys. And so we're really going to dive in and talk about this entire game, what we expect, what we anticipate, some key points to look at. It's really going to be a good one, so pay attention and let's jump on in. Now, again, I want to highlight the short turnaround. Both teams enter the game riding meaningful momentum, yet also navigating a quick turnaround and playoff implications. That is a significant thing for both teams, as both these teams are on the outside looking in. The Kansas City Chiefs are currently 6-5, and like I stated, on the outside of the playoffs. They're looking in and need as many wins as possible. So this is a massive game. We're going to probably say that in every video we talk about for the Chiefs the remainder of the year. They have to win every single game, especially when they still have a chance to kind of manipulate how the playoffs evolve. So it's just super important. And same can be said for Dallas, who is 5-1. Now, if they would have lost to the Philadelphia Eagles, which it looked like they were going to until halftime, they were pretty much done for the year. But they have resurged their season and are currently 10th in the NFL playoff race in the NFC. But the thing is if they were to come out victorious here, they're right in the race again. Kansas City pulled off a gritty win over the Indianapolis Colts in overtime, keeping their season alive, building momentum, and I think that's a key thing. They're building momentum. They see that they can win in a short margin of a game. They win in overtime. They pull it out by 3 points. So they know it's there. They know they have the capabilities. The defense stepped up in a massive way, which we'll talk about. And this offense found a way to be gritty and fight one out. Dallas stunned the Philadelphia Eagles in a dramatic comeback to keep their late season hopes intact. The challenge for both of these squads now face a short week before a high-stakes Thanksgiving contest. The Chiefs must travel, prepare and respond rapidly, and the Cowboys must sustain their emotional high and avoid a letdown. This compressed timeline magnifies margin for error. Again, you also got to think, there were some injuries that really occurred within both teams, and so having to get treatment, how quickly that's going to happen, how quickly do you heal after playing in such physical football games. So that's something to really pay attention to too. And so obviously, the prior game is limited and adjustments must be sharper and quicker on these turnarounds. Both teams have to be sharp, physically fresh, or as fresh as possible, and mentally ready. So we're going to jump in. We're really going to talk about some injury and personal angles. And so the Chiefs, one of the big things I really want to focus on is the fact that Trey Smith sustained a high ankle sprain and a low ankle sprain during that Colts game. They had to insert Mike Caliendo, which would expect to sideline Trey Smith. And I do believe they've already pretty much announced him out, and he will be out for a few weeks. So including making this unlikely for the Chiefs, that's going to be a huge blow, especially with some of the additions that the Cowboys defense made, which we'll talk about. Now, this is a significant blow. Smith is a Pro Bowl guard, a cornerstone piece of the offensive line, and he really obviously is a cohesive piece, and his absence raises questions about the interior run blocking and pass protection for Patrick Mahomes. And I think that's a big deal too, because we really exerted a lot of energy from Kareem Hunt against the Indianapolis Colts. I mean, the guy rushed 30 for over 100 yards. I believe it was 104 yards. He did get a touchdown, but you could tell that Kareem Hunt gave everything he had in his body. And as he's aging and plays a very physical position in the running back position, I mean, how quickly is his turnaround going to be? Now, we did go ahead and sign Pierce, but it sounds like to me he's going to be going to the practice squad, so I don't even think he'll be available. We are still questioning whether Isaiah Pacheco is going to be somewhat healthy and he can even contribute in this game. You have Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who has played some minutes and seen some snaps. And obviously you have Brashard Smith, who's been contributing, but it's more as a pass catcher versus a rusher. So that's going to be something to really pay attention to, especially when it comes to the injuries. How healthy is Isaiah Pacheco? So the Chiefs are going to have to adapt. The offensive line must step up, and the leadership must be strong in his absence. And I think to go along with that, Patrick Mahomes is going to have to be evasive. If this offensive line can't hold up to the new additions of Quinnen Williams, for the Dallas Cowboys and really that interior defense, Patrick Mahomes is going to have to be evasive. He's going to have to be elusive. We're going to have to see him run the football. We're going to have to see him be more accurate, set his feet, make good throws, do the things that we know Patrick Mahomes is able to do, and go win a football game. Now, we're going to talk specifically about those defensive upgrades. On the Dallas side, a major storyline in recent infusion of the defensive talent. That's something they really focused on. They traded their all-world Micah Parsons, obviously, to the Green Bay Packers. He hasn't been a part of this team for a period of time now, but they went out and made additions at the trade deadline. The biggest one, in my opinion, was defensive tackle Quinnen Williams. That's a huge addition on the interior defensive line. That's really could potentially disrupt, what the Chiefs' offensive line has. We've seen when you have a solid interior pass rusher in a guy like Quinnen Williams, it can really disrupt how the Kansas City Chiefs function from an offensive perspective. Since his arrival, he's made an impact. For example, he had 8 pressures in the game against the Eagles. The Cowboys' defensive resurgence is real. What was a liability at one point is showing signs of becoming a strength. So they're starting to really gain momentum on that defensive side. I still question, they do have a very solid cornerback and a few decent safeties, and they did upgrade at the linebacker position, but I still think some of those things can be exploited with a guy like Patrick Mahomes. But again, they're going to be facing a rejuvenated front of that interior defense. So then I question whether a 65-70% Kareem Hunt is going to be able to really effectively run the football. I did question it against Indianapolis, and I had to bite my tongue, obviously, because Kareem Hunt rushed for 30 times for 104 yards and a touchdown. So I did bite my tongue, but you're on a short turnaround. He did really go after it. So I really question, are they going to lean more on Clyde Edwards-Helaire? Is Isaiah Pacheco going to be available? What is Brashard Smith's, option going to be? So those are really things to pay attention to, and I think are the keys to this game. Now, how the Chiefs can win. Obviously, that's the biggest thing because they need to win every game that they can. Given all of the above, here are several points that we think we need to be looking at. Win the trenches battle, despite the Smith absence. We really kind of touched on it, but with Trey Smith out, the Chiefs' interior line must collectively step up. You're going to have to see guys like Creed Humphrey. You're going to have to see those tackles really stepping up in a massive way. You're going to have to see Caliendo become a very good right guard. That's going to happen if you anticipate to win. So I really think those are things that have to happen in order for this Chiefs team to win. Kansas City must emphasize quick hitting run plays and play action to keep Dallas off balance and prevent the Cowboys front from pinning their ears and attacking Mahomes. Quick passes, maybe we've seen a little struggle with the RPO, but we've also seen where Xavier Worthy and Rashee Rice are running good crossing routes. That's really how they kind of came back in the Indianapolis game, is that second half, they really just ran a lot of crossing routes, and it opened up the middle, and it allowed guys like Rashee Rice, Xavier Worthy to really catch the ball and get a lot of yak. And so that's something to pay. I think one thing, too, is establish the run and sustain drives. If the Chiefs can win the time of possession, it matters. In short week games, the more Kansas City keeps the Dallas defense on the field, that's going to exhaust them and prevent explosive plays is the better. A steady dose of the run and play action off of it will force Dallas to show their hand and open up opportunities in the pass game. Facing a defense that's gaining traction, Kansas City needs to avoid 3-and-outs, which is huge. We need to avoid those 3-and-outs, especially in key situations. Just like in the Indianapolis game, you drive down, you get in the red zone, you don't successfully get in the end zone, you have to kick a field goal. But the thing was, is you were able to get the football after half, and you did nothing with it. It was a 3-and-out, and we had to get rid of the football. Those are the key situations where you really have to kind of attack and use your advantage of your powerful offense to really go after a team like the Colts, and in this situation, like the Dallas Cowboys. And so take advantage of the quick turnaround that Dallas is experiencing, just like the Kansas City Chiefs. While the Cowboys have momentum, short week games, another thing is that they're at home. These short weeks often bring traps. We talked about travel, less prep time, emotional hangover because both teams are coming off of highs. Kansas City can exploit that by coming out sharper, forcing Dallas to react rather than act. I think where Kansas City has a big advantage is that they are battle tested. They've been through the playoffs. They know how to really kind of create this resilience. They've tasted success with beating a very talented team in the Indianapolis Colts. So they are battle tested. They know how to go on the road and win. They've gone in the playoffs and won on the road. This is going to be a massive game. The crowd's going to be, in the game. It's going to be a really good environment. So I really anticipate the Kansas City Chiefs needing to step up. I think one of the big things, too, is Kansas City needs to really have an early game aggressive mentality. It can pay dividends. If Kansas City jumps ahead and forces Dallas to play from behind, that throws a curve into the Cowboys' rhythm. One of the biggest things, too, is staying disciplined and avoid giveaways. With Dallas's defense upgraded and primed to make a splash, Kansas City must minimize the turnovers. We saw that with Patrick Mahomes. The Kansas City Chiefs really utilized that first drive against the Indianapolis Colts by forcing them quickly to punt the football. But then on the other side of it, Patrick Mahomes, within 2 plays, throws an interception and gives the ball to the Indianapolis Colts on the 6-yard line. So if you're able to really limit and avoid those giveaways, I think you're going to have a good chance. So they must minimize the turnovers. The biggest thing is penalties and negative situations. The Kansas City Chiefs lately have been getting way too many penalties, specifically on special teams. Dave Toub has to get this thing figured out. He's worried too much about what's going on outside of football and really needs to focus on what his unit is doing. Every time there is a punt, it seems like laundry is thrown on the field because there's a block in the back, a holding. Something is going on that forces this offense to be put at even more of a disadvantage. So Dave Toub, you need to get your stuff squared away and get this team, specifically the special teams, rolling. I mean, you got Harrison Butker doing what he needs to do. Now it's time to really focus on getting these guys not to get penalties. So avoid unnecessary sacks, the false starts, specifically on the offensive line with the newly inserted Mike Caliendo. We've seen multiple false starts from Jawan Taylor. Those need to quit happening. I mean, are they going to happen? Probably minuscule, but you can't have big games where you have tons of penalties. That just causes problems, and you're going to probably lose the game if you lose that battle. In a market that never sleeps, one name rises above the rest. Lisa Miller from Dan Lynch Real Estate. Trusted by hundreds and recognized across the Midwest. She delivers results when it matters the most. With over 13 years of experience and licenses in both Kansas and Missouri, Lisa isn't just selling houses. She's helping you find a place to call home. Whether you are a first-time home buyer, looking to upsize, or selling your current home, Lisa makes the process smooth and stress-free. As a local expert passionate about building lasting relationships, she ensures her clients feel confident and satisfied every step of the way. Don't wait, your perfect home is just a call away. Contact Lisa today at 913-579-3246 or 913-369-3000 or visit lisamillersaleskc.com. Let Lisa Miller at Lynch Real Estate help you start your next exciting chapter. And let her know the beat of KC, Lucas Murphy, sent you her way. Predictable formations will limit Dallas' ability to generate momentum, shifting defensive plays. I think as long as you're changing things up, you're not showing the same stuff that you always have on tape, you're going to be able to throw this defense off. Now, one of the biggest things is the leverage and explosive ability of Patrick Mahomes. It's the ability to make plays, the Mahomes magic that we always talk about. When the opportunity arises, Kansas City should dial up those big play looks, vertical shots. I mean, they have the ability. They have a guy like Xavier Worthy. They have multiple guys that can really spread out the offense. I mean, you have Tyquan Thornton. I mean, Hollywood Brown still has the capabilities of doing that. So being able to really kind of have those vertical shots, start incorporating some misdirection, scheme touches for playmakers. I think the big thing is really kind of focusing on getting Rashee Rice going again and really getting guys like Travis Kelce involved, working over the middle. This is making Dallas defend the whole field rather than just grinding the Kansas City aspect of just worrying about maybe the run game or worrying about how they just simplify things at times. And as Mahomes is getting out of the pocket and really kind of expanding the field, it could really create some challenges because you're eliminating that defensive front. So that's something to also pay attention to. The Chiefs offense still has that championship level capability. We've seen it multiple times this year, ladies and gentlemen. There have been games where you're like, they're back. And then we've talked about it where there's times where it's like, man, what is going on with this offense? I think a lot of that is play calling. So I'm going to focus on that. You really need to have your dialed up plays, your best plays, your scripted plays that you come out with in the beginning need to be flawless. You need to really execute and go win this football game. I think the biggest thing, too, is limit Dallas's stars on offense. Most people are like, CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb's that guy. Yeah, he's still the truth. He's still the guy. But you have a guy in George Pickens, who they acquired from the Pittsburgh Steelers, who is currently the second best receiver in the NFL. And so you have two really talented wide receivers that are going to have, Dak Prescott throwing to them. And I think it depends on who's covering who. And that's really what I'm going to be looking forward to. Who is McDuffie going to be lined up on? Is he going to be covering George Pickens? Are we going to expect McDuffie to really lock down the second best receiver, only to unleash potentially another really talented receiver? It's going to be interesting to see who is on CeeDee Lamb and vice versa, who's on George Pickens. Another thing to pay attention to is how they utilize Javonte Williams. Now, we're used to Javonte Williams because he played for the Denver Broncos, but we're seeing a different Javonte Williams in a Dallas Cowboys uniform. He's really running the football well. He's the fifth best running back currently in the NFL when it comes to statistics. But the thing is the Kansas City Chiefs have found ways to really shut down those elite. Outside of James Cook, they've really shut down the elite running backs. And I think that is something to really focus on too. If you're forcing Dak Prescott to throw the football, will he make those mistakes? Because we've seen Kansas City shut down guys just this last week. Jonathan Taylor, he pretty much went ghost mode. I mean, you didn't see him after he really had an impact in the first half. Outside of that, Jonathan Taylor did not really receive the football after that. We've seen them shut down multiple guys. I mean, Saquon Barkley did not erupt. You can go down the list. Derrick Henry definitely did not erupt. And so you're really having a strong capability of shutting down a run game. So if you shut down this run game, it's going to open up, for the tight ends. It's going to open up for those wide receivers we mentioned. And you're really putting the pressure on Dak Prescott. The final thing I'm going to talk about is the ability to pass rush. Ladies and gentlemen, we know Chris Jones. He gave everything, but you expect him to give everything. He's paid that way. He is the leader of this defense. You're going to have to get after it, Chris Jones. You're going to have to get after it. And the really one I'm going to focus on is George Karlaftis. Dude, you got to do something. You're going to have to get to Dak Prescott in this game. You're going to have to force one of those really long 3rd and 14, 3rd and 15s multiple times in this game. You're going to have to disrupt the backfield. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of chips. There's going to be a lot of ways for these receivers to really get open downfield. And so you're going to have to get to Dak Prescott in order to win this football game. This Thanksgiving matchup is more than just a spectacle, ladies and gentlemen, because obviously everybody's going to be eating their Thanksgiving meals. It's going to be time to settle in. It's a high leverage contest for both teams. The Chiefs face adversity, injury to obviously Trey Smith, the travel aspect, the short prep, but also an opportunity to assert themselves, gain momentum, and send a message. Dallas, on the other hand, is energized because of how they won a divisional game. They're energized to improve. Obviously, their defense has stepped up in a big way, and they must avoid the complacency. If the Chiefs can impose their will up front despite the Smith absence, manage the clock, Patrick Mahomes becomes the guy we know he's capable of doing, deliver timely shots downfield, they have a strong path of victory. Discipline and execution will separate them from the potential letdown. I appreciate y'all checking out this video. It means so much. You guys have given me so much support. I can't thank y'all enough. It means so much to me. Smash that like button. Comment down below. Let me know what you guys think about the Cowboys and the Chiefs on Thanksgiving. I think the biggest thing is let me know what you're going to have for Thanksgiving. Make sure you guys smash that subscribe button, smash that like button, and I end every video the exact same way. Have a good day.